Welcome to the Diabetes Hope Scholarship Information Session. My name is Heather Miller. I'm the Executive Director at Diabetes Hope Foundation. I've been living with type 1 for 25 years now, which is crazy to think about. And I'm joined by Abby, who will introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Abby. I am one of DHF's program facilitators. So I help lead any virtual events or webinars that we do. I also help to create our online resources that hopefully we are well aware of, which we will go over in this presentation. And I got my DHF scholarship in 2020, and I have been living with T1D for nearly 20 years.
Awesome. Great. So we'll just hop right into it. Just a little bit about Diabetes Hope Foundation for anyone who's not familiar. So Diabetes Hope Foundation started in 1999 by Barbara Pasternak, who's our founder. She had 3 boys. 2 of them were diagnosed with type 1 diabetes back to back within a couple years of each other. And while they were moving through the pediatric care system, as they were getting ready to transition, she realized there was a gap in services for students who were transitioning. And so she launched the Diabetes Hope Scholarship Program. She also did a lot of fundraising for the Ontario Camp Huronda, and spent time flying across countries, going to pediatric clinics to kind of learn about what would support students and families living with type 1 diabetes. So the scholarship program was the first start. Then we introduced our mentorship program, which is available to anyone across Canada, guaranteed for our scholarship recipients, where you're paired with a mentor like Abby. So for your student who's living the dream of going to school with type 1 diabetes and can kind of share their experiences with you and support you as you go through that transition, because starting post-secondary school is a lot. When you add diabetes into the mix, it just kind of makes it a little bit more exciting. We also, over the last 15 years, have developed a lot of resources. So if you go onto our website, you can see the resources that we have there, really geared at giving you the information you need to succeed at school, navigate campus with type 1, and hopefully feel like you're not alone in doing it. So we're all here to learn about the scholarship program tonight. So just a quick overview. The scholarship program was created to recognize students' achievements while managing type 1 diabetes and to celebrate everything that goes into being a leader in your community, strong academics, and also managing your diabetes. It's a combined merit and needs-based program. So you see when we go through the scoring that we're trying to incorporate both pieces of that. Make sure that you double check your eligibility ahead of doing all the work on the application. There is a sort of checkbox in the application to make sure that you qualify. You do need to be in your final year at a Canadian post-secondary school or your CEGEP program if you're joining from Quebec and planning to enter an accredited post-secondary school in September 2026. You have to be registered or getting care from a Canadian pediatric diabetes program or healthcare provider, endocrinologist, and in your transition year to adult diabetes care, and you have to have been receiving care for type 1 by a minimum of 1 year at the application deadline. We don't ask for your SIN on the application, but please make sure that you have one, because if you receive an application so that our taxes all balance out and your taxes all balance out, you need to have a SIN number. So we will be asking that if you are one of the recipients of this year's applications. Application deadline is March 2nd this year, 11:59 PST, Pacific time. Please make sure you hit submit. Sometimes people think they're done because they've got all the completed pieces to it, but just please make sure you hit submit. References, follow up with them. Make sure that they've submitted all the stuff that they need to submit, because if they're not submitted by that deadline, they won't be considered and counted towards your final score. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to me, Heather at diabeteshopefoundation.com. And if you're having technical issues on SurveyMonkey, which is where the application's hosted, you can reach out to me and CC Vivian, who manages all the back-end stuff. I'll pause here and see if anyone has any questions before we move on. Anything in the chat, or are we good?
It's looking like we're good.
All right, awesome. So, what goes into a strong application? First thing is that these are people reading your applications. We have a scholarship advisory committee of about 15 people now, which is a combination of people living with type 1 diabetes. We actually have over 50% of our committee this year are people who received the Diabetes Hope Scholarship, which is really, really exciting. So they know what you're writing about. We also have some physicians and clinicians on the team working in the diabetes space. caregivers of type 1 diabetes, the biggest thing they want to know is who you are. So focus on telling your story. Make sure that you put time into your short answer and essay questions because that's where the bulk of your score comes from. Please don't rely on ChatGPT. We have an AI policy, so please make sure you read it. We allow up to 80%, no, 80% human, up to 20% AI support. So you can run it through to help with grammar and stuff like that, but make sure the core bulk of it is yours. You will be disqualified and not able to do the app or not eligible for the scholarship if you have more than that 80%, more than 20% AI. And we're really looking to see that you're thinking about transition. You're kind of putting the pieces into place to manage your type 1 on your own as an adult or already doing it. So it's really about sharing your story. I don't know if there's anything you wanted to add to that, Abby.
I think you really hit the nail on the head. Like the advisory committee, they really want to know who you are. AI doesn't, they're not you. So there's going to be a different tone. So I would say start now so that you can start getting some of those thoughts onto paper. And just don't be afraid to write. We want to know who you are.
And just for the caregivers in the room, I know there's always one or two that want to write the application for your son or daughter. We can usually pick those out, and we do have kind of verification things that we go to for ones that we feel like might be written by someone more my age than Abby's. So just kind of putting that out there as well. How are applications scored? So after you submit your application, Vivian and myself just kind of review them to make sure that you meet the eligibility. All applications are run through an AI detector. We have 3 that we use and kind of at least do 2 of them for each application. That's Vivian's joy, not mine. So I don't have to worry about that piece, but she makes a note. Any that are higher than that threshold of 20% AI are disqualified. All names and identifying information are then removed from the application before they're randomly assigned to our scholarship advisory committee. You can go online to see who's in that committee, and you've already kind of gone over that a little bit. If there are conflicts, so one of our committee members, the chair of our committee is Dr. Simone, who's a endocrinologist at Trillium. If he's your doctor or if you receive care at Trillium, then we have things put in place so that he doesn't receive your application. So it's completely a blinded process and there's no possibility that he knows who you are and is going to give you special treatment. All the applications are scored using a standardized rubric for each of the questions. They're submitted and then averaged, and then the scholarships with the highest score receive or applications with the highest score receive the scholarship. And then we contact everybody by mid-April about the outcome of their application either way. Any questions about the scoring process or our scholarship committee at all?
Nothing in the chat, Heather.
No? Okay, perfect. Right, so I'm just going to walk through each section for the application and kind of point out a few tips on how to make sure that yours is strongest. Academics is worth 10 points. It's a very quick conversion that SurfMonkey does for us. If you're getting 87, then you get 8.7 for your mark out of 10. You can enter your grade 12 average, so any courses that you did last semester or any that you're kind of did in grade 11. And then that would be the score that we're basing it off of. You do have to upload a PDF of your transcripts. So if you haven't got that yet, reach out to your board so you can get it sorted out because it does need to be a PDF, and we do need to be able to read it. So if possible, don't take a photo of it and upload it because we can't read that. We ask about what school you're going to or hoping to go to and what program you're going to take. Those are not graded. They're more used for our matching with our scholarship donors if you're successful. For achievements, you can enter up to 5 unique achievements that you've done over the course of the year. So awards that you win in sports or in leadership or at your school. They have to be things that you've accomplished in secondary school. So as awesome as it is that you might have been the top Girl Guide cookie seller in grade 2, that doesn't count as achievement for the scholarship here. And if you're unsure if something qualifies, you can send me an email. If you were on the honor roll for 4 years straight, that does count as one achievement, not 4 individual ones. So we're looking for kind of variety in this piece. Any questions about either of those 2 sections for the application? No?
You're good to go.
Okay. The next section is leadership and community impact. So again, 5 unique examples of leadership are what you're able to enter. These can be things that you're doing with a formal organization at your school or something that's self-led. So if you started a group in your neighborhood to, I don't know, I'm reading Babysitters Club with my daughter right now, so I'm just going to use that as an example. If you started a Babysitters Club in your neighborhood, then that's something that you can put down. Again, just one activity, even if it's spanned 3 or 4 years. And then that is something that we read through. And if you're not sure if something counts, again, just send me a quick email and I can let you know. We have the personal needs statement. So this is just a space for you to share a little bit more about your story. So this is where the committee is looking for that needs-based information. So sharing anything that's impacted your personal life and your journey. So including financial needs, having multiple diagnoses, either yourself or you have more than one type 1 in your family. If you're a recent immigrant or refugee, so within the last 5 years is the time frame that we're looking at. Family structure, if there's been any changes to that, or sole support families, any learning disabilities, mental health diagnoses, or any other socioeconomic factor that you think is important for the committee to know about that may have impacted your journey. Again, if you're unsure, send me an email. And this section is subject to verification, just if there's something we might reach out to. So for example, if you say that you have multiple diagnoses, we might just reach out to confirm what those are. I'm just going to keep moving, Abby, unless you kind of flag me down. So now we're getting into the short answer pieces. So the first 3, so there's 3 questions for the 15 points about transition preparedness and the Diabetes Hope Foundation. Please make sure you read each question carefully so that you can answer it and get the maximum score. Consider all potential resources to help you with both your transition and through Diabetes Hope Foundation, and think about including a plan on how you're going to ensure your success. Make sure that you're aware and tell the committee that you're aware of the skills that you need to successfully manage your type 1 diabetes on your own if you're going away to school or even just kind of traveling downtown. If you can give concrete examples of what you've already been doing or working on, then that's going to play really well with the Scholarship Advisory Committee. Please take time to explore the DHF website. We've put a lot of work into that. Abby's helped with a lot of the resources. They're all written by students based on their experiences, reviewed by clinicians to make sure the information is sound. And think about what resource that you're going to speak to. This one, ChatGPT can write a wonderful answer for this, but they're not going to be able to apply it to your personal story. So just make sure you think about what you can actually use, and hopefully it's more than one thing and you have to kind of do rock, paper, scissors or something for which one you're going to write about. Make sure your answers are thoughtful, do your research. And again, I just reiterate this, read the question carefully so you're answering what it is that it's asking. Any questions here? Just pause for a minute and then keep going.
Nothing so far.
The essay questions, so they're not extremely long essay questions. I think it's a 500-word count, and you don't need to go all that way. Again, make sure you read them carefully and answer them thoughtfully. We will know if you're using ChatGPT because it's not going to be personal to your story and something that anybody could write. This is kind of the section where you can really let the committee get to know you, a little bit about your diabetes journey and how you're demonstrating resilience and strength, and what you've personally accomplished. And then finally, references. So you can choose up to 4 references. Think about people who can speak to both your diabetes management and your personal strengths. You cannot ask friends, partners, parents, caregivers, grandmas. They need to be academic references, community leader references. You can ask your clinicians. They make phenomenal references, teachers, bosses. So just kind of go through the guidelines, and we have a few examples there. Make sure that it's at the start of the application. Just make sure you fill that out, because what it does is it sends them a form that they need to fill out to their email. You should be able to see who's completed it and who hasn't. Just circle back to them if they haven't so that they can get it done on time, and give them enough time to do it and kind of just check in around them. Again, if they're not submitted by the deadline, then they will not be counted towards your final score. So I'm going to just quickly go over some of the programs and resources. So this is kind of helping you with one of the questions. Check out our resource hub. We have the Transition Planner, which is full of great information on what to expect when you get to post-secondary, resources you can look to, how to advocate for your needs, accommodations that are available. The transition guide is an online app. It's not really an app, but it's an online resource that you can use where you can search by school. So once you've decided what school you're going into, you can do a search for what the accommodation information is, where the closest hospital is, where the closest endocrinologist is. And our community blog is my favorite place to go on the website because it's all written by youth from the diabetes community about their experiences, both with post-secondary school and just life in general. We have one by Abby that's coming out next week about the high rocks that she did, which is a crazy physical feat that I can only dream of doing. So it's just a great place for inspiration and also to get some tips. We have our Hope Connects peer support program, which is a way to connect again, like I said earlier, with people who are living with type 1 and living at post-secondary school. So anybody's eligible for that program. So if you're interested in getting a mentor ahead of starting school, once you start school, tomorrow you can fill out an online form and connect there. And then we also have a few other ways of connecting, like the webinars that Abby does. And I'm just going to do a plug for our Instagram because we work really hard at getting information onto there that will be helpful for you as you're living with type 1. Kind of fun and informative. Our What's the Deal With series is one of my favorite because I've learned a lot more about what's happening in my body when I'm going high, when I'm going low, and it kind of helps me be a little bit more patient with my diabetes when it acts up. So just kind of suggest you check that out, and there's some good resources on there. Anything that I missed, Abby?
No, we did have one question in the chat. So just for people who are curious, yes, this meeting is being recorded and then it will be posted on our YouTube and social media so that you can refer back to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Are there any other questions?
We have one more question. What social media do we have? Like what social media accounts do we have?
So we have Instagram, which is at Diabetes Hope Foundation, and the same for Facebook. We also have a LinkedIn account. We have a YouTube channel that's got a lot of the webinars that Abby's helped plan and kind of we've done over the past 5 years or so, which is great information in there. We also have a podcast that you can connect to, which is just kind of talking about life with diabetes. Instagram, I would say, is the best place to start, and then kind of go from there.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Okay. That's kind of the end of our presentation. I hope it helped you kind of get prepared for filling out your application. I'm happy to stay on for another couple minutes if you have kind of individual questions that you wanted to ask. But thank you very much for coming out tonight, and look forward to working with you and hopefully access some of our resources with or without the scholarship.
Heather, we have a question. If we take messenger pigeon?
I'm going to say no because I don't know what that is, but I'm not sure what it does. I'd love to know what messenger pigeon is, and maybe we can accommodate it.
Are we able to contact you in any way through the website with any questions?
Yeah, so there's a contact form on the website. You can also send me a direct email or email info@diabeteshopefoundation.com, and then someone will get back to you for sure.
Double checking, how do we get the reference, how the references, like how do they get the info?
So in the application, you put in their name and their email address, and then SurveyMonkey sends them out a form. So they get a link to their own SurveyMonkey account that they set up, and then they'll have the application questions that are in the guidelines. They fill those out, they hit submit, and then it's done on their end. And then it kind of comes in the back end for us. So just make sure that you double check what email they want you to use. Some people would prefer you use their work emails. Some people prefer their personal email. So double check what email. And then after you kind of fill that part out on the application, maybe just check in with them sort of the following week. Sometimes sometimes there's firewalls, especially if you're using teachers that block the information from coming into their account. So just check and make sure they got the prompt to fill out, and then it's also a nice reminder for them to get on it. If they didn't receive it, then you can reach out to myself and Vivian, and we'll follow up and kind of get them the information another way if we need to.
And then Heather, our child was diagnosed in May 2025. Does this mean they are ineligible?
So, in that case, I would take that to our scholarship advisory committee and see if they're willing to make an exception. So, if you send me an email with your name and the name of your applicant or your student, sorry, your child, then I would send that to our scholarship advisory committee and see if they'll make an exception in your case.
We have a couple of questions about transcripts and grades. How do we calculate the average, all of our grade 12 grades, or just the top six? And can it count if we did it in the summer?
Yes to all of your grade 12 grades, and yes, it can count if you did it in the summer.
We're a little confused about the high school transcript. I don't have the official one because my courses are only finished in June. So would it be a semester one transcript, grades 9 to 11 transcript, and a course list for grade 12?
So in that case, if you can get the transcript for your grade 9 to 11, and then maybe submit like a copy of your report card from your first semester, because you'll have like a midterm mark there. So if you can submit that along with it, and you would use your midterm mark for those grade 12 courses that you're taking, because I'm assuming you have a full course load of 8 or however many you need to graduate. So you do the midterm mark for that.
And for any students that are here, I also teach in a high school, so your transcript should show your semester one marks. So your 3 or 4 courses that you took, depending on if you have or if you had a spare or not, your transcripts should show all of your grade 9, 10, and 11 semester one courses, and then any semester two courses that you have, it'll say like in progress. And then it should also show OSS, LT, the literacy test, all that fun jazz. Heather, can the references be contacted before the whole application is submitted?
Like, should you reach out to them, do you mean? Or
Kaylee, if Kaylee is still here, if you can just clarify. In the meantime, in BC, our transcripts only include grade 10 to 12, and the site asks for 9 to 12. What would you suggest?
just submit your 10 to 12. We're not going back too far to look at the grade 9 grades. It's more the grade 12 ones that we're looking for. And I know each province is a little bit different about how they do it, and even each school board. So whatever your transcript is, then submit that. And if you want just to kind of cover yourself, you can just send me an email just to confirm that it's okay. And then if anybody comes back to you, you can say Heather said it was okay, and then I'll take the slack for anything that happens. I'm just going to go back to kind of Kaylee's question and kind of guess what you were asking. I would contact your references as soon as you're ready to put them onto. Oh, the reference goes out as soon as you fill out that form. So as soon as you put their email in and kind of hit submit on your end, then it automatically sends that out to your references. So the sooner you get it to them, the better, so that they can complete it before the March 2nd deadline. So they don't have to wait until your application's done. You do need to wait for them to be completed before you submit your application, because once you submit your application, they can no longer complete the reference forms. So you have to coordinate a little bit with them and just kind of check in on what's going on. I also recommend not waiting until Sunday night to submit your application, just because technology is not foolproof, and don't want anything to happen. So please don't start working on it March 1st at like 9 o'clock at night, just in case something happens.
And
As a
Julia, I hope that
procrastinator,
answered your question that yes, your references responses are due also by the March deadline, but you cannot submit your application until your references have submitted their info.
okay. I hope this has been helpful. I hope you're kind of ready to go out and write your amazing applications. I look forward to working with some of you and having you come out to programming and accessing our resources. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. I try and get back within 24 or 48 hours. I don't mind a nudge if I haven't seen your email or if it's gone to spam or anything like that. Yeah, good luck and stay warm. It's warming up where we are, so hopefully it is for everybody else's as well.
Have a great night, everyone. Thanks for coming.